Hi, I am Ben Alexander and I have autism. Today I'm going to share you with the services autistic people have, and I'm going to be sharing what services I have. So if you wouldn't mind, could you please hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up like button, and turn on your YouTube notifications so you don't miss any of my future videos. Also, if you have any other video ideas or any way I can improve my content, feel free to please comment in the comments to give me ideas/advice. Thank you. So I know when you're first discovering autism, you get the diagnosis and realize you are autistic. You're like, well, what services do I grab? Of course, I was 2 when I was diagnosed, and a lot of it relied, actually all of it relied on my parents. Because I'm 2 and I can't make decisions on my own, so my parents had a lot of pressure on them to make sure that I got the correct services that I needed. And my parents did a great job of that because I've gotten a lot of great services through the school district that I was in, and it's just been great. So as an autistic person, I can definitely say that there's a lot of services, and I'm going to go through all of them right now. So the first one was an IEP plan. So if you don't know what an IEP plan is, it's an individualized education plan. So basically, this helps the schools create a learning plan for education based on your disabilities. Like my school had Marysville, they had an autistic preschool at Harold Lewis, and then they had an autistic section at Mill Valley. So my school district's been really good with autism, and they've really done a great job. And I believe having those type of services have really helped me in the long run. And I also had access to great teachers who helped me navigate the autism in the classroom. And a lot of the teachers had great things to say to me because I just simply went to work. That's all it was. I just simply went to work and gave my best effort in education. And I've realized that 99% of teachers are going to be okay with you. And if you're an autistic kid that's watching it and you're trying to navigate school, I'd say the best thing is just work, and you're going to have a great relationship with your teachers. And also, students are going to realize that you're really nice, and if you treat people nicely, then you'll earn the respect of students. That's advice that, as an adult who graduated high school and college, that's the best advice I can give to children. Or if you're a parent, I would pass that on to your children too, because that is really what helped me get through school, and it's made it a lot easier when you don't have any tension between teachers and other kids. I've been very fortunate about that. But again, I do realize that even if you do all those, the things could still happen. But if you do those things where you work and show up and treat everybody with respect, the likelihood of people bullying you goes down. But again, I understand that people are going to bully no matter what. It's an unfortunate world, but that was advice that I'd give if you want to have a great relationship with your teachers. Definitely, the teachers should not be bullies. At least you can have the teachers if you do those steps. But students are going to be students, And I would say talking to your teacher, talking to your parents, school administrators would help you with bullying too. If you're navigating bullying, and I know that's a serious problem with the schools, and really in general as a humanity. So just finding the resources how to fight that and deal with the bully is very helpful, clearly. So yeah, you got to show them respect no matter what. And it's hard sometimes, but maybe sometimes the bully might not come from the best situation, never been shown what respect is. So if you can show them respect, that's kind of how I would go about it. But again, you do you. You're in charge of your own life. But I know I went on that rabbit hole, but let's get back to the IEP. So the IEP helps people with learning disabilities graduate high school. And you can get it as early as preschool. At least from my school district and my experience from Marysville, Ohio. Marysville Exempted Village School District was the district. Marysville High School, Mo Valley, Harold Lewis, Northwood, Creekview Intermediate School, Bunsell Middle School. Yeah, I said Marysville High School. Those were about the 5 or so schools. And yeah, I transitioned from the autistic preschool from Mill Valley. It was preschool for 2nd grade. And then my parents recognized a great teacher from another school. And my parents moved me to that school so I could have that teacher that ultimately helped me with my academics. So I wasn't very happy because I was leaving my friends at the time, but at the end of the day, it worked out. I was completely fine. It ended up working out, so that was good. And also, an IEP plan helps me get in the classes I needed to enroll so I can graduate on time. And I'm really happy about that too, because the last thing you want to do is not graduate high school, because you really need to graduate high school if you want to get a job of any kind. Like, I don't know of a single employer that hires somebody without a high school diploma or a college education or a GED. Like, you had no education, no degree or whatever. I just don't think that's really possible. But again, if you somehow have that, where there are jobs like that, let me know in the comments, because I cannot think of any. So yeah. And my second service is speech therapy. And this really helped me learn how to communicate with people, make friends, and learn social skills that I've used in my current warehouse job and my life today. And speech therapy is such a great tool. It makes me learn how to speech, good speech, great speech, big speech, little speech. Well, I guess little speech isn't a good thing, but, knowing when you should say a lot and when you can't, that's a good thing. It's just all of that. Learning social skills and making new friends. And I've used it today in my warehouse job, and we use speech in everyday life, no matter who you are. You use speech in everyday life, so it's just, you might as well, I guess, get used to it, And I think that's something, as an autistic person, that I struggle with. And you probably looked at my videos and probably realized that I do struggle with social anxiety. And yes, I do. And it's brave for me to come on a camera in front of the whole world to talk about my experience. It's not easy, but again, I enjoy it because I want to help people. And that's really my goal. So I end up just focusing on that instead of, I can't do this. Oh, I have speech issues. Oh, I'm autistic. I have speech issues. I'm going to do my best no matter what. Yes, I might have some deficiencies, but I'm not going to use autism as an excuse to basically live I don't know how to word this, but a life that isn't as great as it could be. Like slacking off a little bit. And again, I understand it's easy to slack off, but I want to push myself to greater things, because at the end of the day, sometimes you just want to be great at something. You want to learn and you want to do the right things all the time. As a humanity, I'm nowhere near perfect at this, but I try to do whatever I possibly can to make sure I'm in the best position possible. And yeah, back to the speech therapy, So basically, you can have an IEP. Well, the IEP and the speech therapy go together, at least for me, because I'd go to speech class once a week. And maybe when I was younger, even though I don't remember it when I was younger, I could have went more multiple times a week. And depending on your child or yourself, you might be able to go to multiple times a week. It just depends on your situation. And again, like anything, I'd highly recommend you use the internet or talk to your schools to make sure you're set up with the IEP and the speech services. And the next thing it's outside of school, but also when I was in school, my service consultant would come to the IEP meetings, because that's another thing in IEP meetings, is all our teachers or certain teachers would meet in a room with my parents and talk about where I'm at academically, which I know that's nervous wracking. But again, that's why I made myself pretty good, because if I didn't go well, things would not go well. Let's be honest. And I wanted things to go well. So I ended up making sure that I did all my work and doing everything I can, get a good word from the teachers. And my parents were pretty happy with me. They're like, this is exactly what we were saying. This is exactly our vision, is just everybody work together to be able to learn something new and build skills for my career. That's the whole point of education, is just to build skills for your career. And that's kind of what Union County Board of Developmental does. You could get lots of different services. You could get specialized housing for autistic people, or people with disabilities. You could get school services. You could get support services. I know Special Olympics is a big one. There's just a lot of services that you can do, and I will share in a couple seconds about all the other services that I got through OOD, which is Ohio Developmental Disabilities, and the UCBDD, which is Union County Board of Developmental Disabilities. And I'm from Marysville, Ohio, Union County, and yeah, that's the Union County Board of Developmental Disabilities. And let's be honest, and I'll be honest to you, I went through all the phases of the program because I've had it since I was younger. Once I was 2, they're like, we got to put this guy on services. So yeah, and I ended up just doing that. So I've gone through multiple service consultants, which I've liked all of them. You know, they've given me advice. They've done a great job. And honestly, I can't really complain. They make sure to, because right now with the Union County Board of Developmental Disabilities, I have a service consultant meeting once in August, which I had it about last month, and I was telling her about the new job, so that was cool. Yeah, and I mean, again, you could celebrate the wins and learn how to fix from the losses. And that's the cool thing about a service consultant, is they are very knowledgeable about services. And I'll be honest, so I went to Sports Clips and I ended up talking about my autism. And actually, the funny thing, my haircutter person had had a daughter that has autism. And she was asking me, hey, like, how do you get services? And I told her, I was like, well, we have services through the county. You could go and apply services and call them. And then actually the funny thing is, she haircutted me again. She's like, you know, I talked to them and we're getting in the right direction. Thank you for helping me. So you never know what difference you can make by sharing your story. And this is before I even started this channel. So I just wanted to add that you could be a difference no matter where you are. And what I told her was just look it up on the internet. See if your county has a Board of Developmental Disabilities. At least in Ohio, there's a lot of counties that do. And I'm sure it's everywhere in the country. I can't speak anywhere else in the country or the world. All I can do is speak for myself, and that's kind of what it was. So yeah, I think I had some cool stories and cool interactions trying to help people get the services they need, and service consultants are definitely a help in that. And there's also the state of Ohio. There's a worker from the state of Ohio Disability Center, which I It's OOD, Ohio's or Opportunities of Disabilities. So basically what they do is they help me come up with a plan, come up with services that I need, and basically assess where you go, because as you're going to see, I have driving and career services right now because I'm in the adult phase of life. Because there were like 5 phases that let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 phases, yeah, 5 phases. So the first phase for the IEP, Union County Board Developmental Plan, is really the elementary, intermediate, and then next is middle school, high school, college. Well, college is optional because I know not everybody's going to choose college. And then, but I chose college, so they gave me services to help me support for my college. And I used my IP in college too to get me access to the services on my campus of when I went to college at Mount Vernon Nazarene University, and they had a testing center that I could go and take tests from. So that was helpful to me. So yeah, I would say that the worker makes sure that I have the services, and they come up with a plan, and they even check in on the service providers, because I have service providers for each of my driving and my career stuff. So they definitely make sure that I am checking all the boxes and making sure that the providers are giving me the service that I need. And again, it's your state or your country. Again, research it and find out if the state and the county are separate, but they also work together. So it's kind of interesting. But they're 2 separate things, and I'd recommend you get both of them if you can. But of course, I'd first go to your county and then talk with your county and see if you need that. And see what you can do. Because again, just talking to somebody who's knowledgeable will help you out. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to do here. Not to say that, I mean, I'm knowledgeable in what I share and my experiences, but again, the service consultants in your area are going to be more knowledgeable. Like, for example, you live in Georgia, near Atlanta or something, and you're looking for services in Fulton County. I think it's Fulton County. And you're like, okay, I want to do autistic services in Fulton County. Well, I don't know about Fulton County or Atlanta a whole lot. I've been there once in my life, and I had a blast in Atlanta, but I don't know enough about the area to tell you exactly what's going on. And that's why you got to go find people who are knowledgeable in your area. So I just wanted to make sure that that's super clear. And I'm going to keep reiterating this just to make sure that everybody understands. I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but I just want to make sure that you all understand that it's important to make sure you are doing your part and you're going to the resources that you need to go to in order to get the services that you need. And that's important. And I'm sure a lot of you have done that or are going to do that. So, for sure. So, my next thing is I have driving services. So, when I turned 15, 16, driving services were introduced to me. Because, at least in Ohio, 15 and a half is when you can get a permit and you can test for the permit. And it was around like 16 or 17, I believe. I know 2017 I had a go-kart accident through the service. And again, they responded very well. They got rid of that go-kart that caused the accident because it was a weird steering thing. It just wasn't good. Shoelace got caught in the L-shaped brake. It was a really weird brake. It was L-shaped and it was metal. It was weird. Like, you think of brakes that like a car, they don't have L-shaped where you can get it caught in your shoelace. And I was new at driving because I was so used to the brake. I didn't realize I could let off the gas and maybe I could avoid an accident. But again, the car was so weird and I couldn't control it. So there was a lot of problems. It was just it was a disaster of a recipe, and they responded well. But again, there's good news in that. They helped me drive with go-karts, and which it all worked out. Let's see, go-karts and four-wheelers, off-road vehicles, like a Honda Pioneer. Yeah, that was a Honda Pioneer. That was fun to drive because they were trying to get me to go faster and being comfortable going fast. Because the only thing I've driven in my life was a fast boat when I was like 8 years old. And my uncle was basically holding the wheel. So we didn't crash into other boats or, a lot of stuff because, I'm a little 8-year-old kid. So yeah. And then also I drove some golf carts when I was on the golf team in high school, so I've had a little bit of experience, but I'm not going to say that I'm an expert at driving a car. That's a whole different animal. And it really helped me out because it led into the next service, which would help me get the license. The first service, and there were two different providers, but the first service was meant to give you an introduction and get you comfortable with driving at fast speeds. And the second one's like, okay, now we're ready for the license. Let's go get the license. And they helped me get the license. They helped me practice the test, and I ended up acing the test, practicing maneuverability, and it definitely helped me a lot. Knowing the rules of the road, just practicing all that stuff. And he touched a little bit on the highway, which was capabilities, but the main focus on the first was just getting the license. And then there's another part to it. I took like at least a 4-year gap or something because I was at college. So basically it was the summer of 2019 when I graduated high school. We worked to get in the license. And I think it was like June or July of 2019. So I got my license when I was 19. Got my license and then we didn't have capabilities anymore. Because you had to have a reason from the state of Ohio and the Union County to pay for your services. And the next part is, 4 years later, I have a media degree trying to find a media job. Couldn't quite find a media job. And, which, again, I wasn't very happy about not finding a media job because I paid like $27,000 to just... I should have a media job, right? And I did lots of stuff in college, but again, it's all right. I like my warehouse job right now. I think someday I'm going to want to do media because that's truly where my passion is. But again, I don't mind my warehouse job. Like, I get along with people over there, and it's definitely a better fit than retail at Walmart because I worked at Walmart for 5 years and a month. In and out through college because I didn't work during college. So it was definitely a little bit of an interesting experience for sure. But so basically I had a hiatus for 4 years and then I came back to it. I think it was like December, January of 2023, which was last year. Because then it took me a while to get those services approved again. Yeah, and then now, because my mom was like, you are not comfortable. I'm not comfortable if you going on the highway. And of course I'm like saying, Mom, trust me, I'll be fine. But she wasn't having it. So I was like, okay, fine, we'll just take the highway challenge. Which honestly was a good thing because I was able to work on my craft and learn more. And it's nice to have somebody with a break that knows what they're doing. So... it works out that my mom wanted me to have these services because she wanted me to drive safely in Columbus, Ohio, which is the big town that's 30 minutes away from Marysville. And right now I'm driving in downtown, which is the busiest and the most stressful part of driving in Ohio. And my parents have driven several years. They're very experienced drivers. And they tell me, Ben, we do not like even driving in downtown Columbus. So it's like, it's not... But again, I'm looking at it as what happens if I want to eat at a certain restaurant or there's a certain event, like a sports game down there. Because I love sports. If you watch any of my previous videos, I have videos about my special interest. You can go check that out. I totally appreciate it, but you can learn more about why I like sports and what makes sports so special to me. So yeah, I mean, definitely that helps too. You know, I'm willing to look at the thing. It's like, I want to be able to do this, so I'm going to learn to do this. So I've been learning it now, and I feel a lot more comfortable. And I don't know when I'm going to feel comfortable enough, because honestly, my new warehouse job, they're having me drive a big van, big red van. So think of the mystery machine from Scooby-Doo, except it's red, not the colors of the mystery machine. I know the colors in my head. There's flowers on it. It's like green and blue, those type of colors, but I think that's what it is. But I have an image in my head, but it's hard for me to explain the image. It's maybe part of my autism. So, but I hope I got that right. If not, correct me in the comment section. So yeah, basically I'm willing to do that. So I'm doing that. Driving in a big van they've had me go through Marysville, so they're having me go in shorter drives, and then hopefully someday they're going to have me expand to other places, do deliveries from a warehouse. So yeah, it's very interesting. So as of September 2024, I'm still doing capabilities, and that's the services that I have now. And yeah, and so career services right now, I'm doing career fields with Brehon Technology, and you know, I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do. I'm in a 3-month hiatus right now because I got my new job and I'm settling into that. And again, my battery's about ready to run out of my camera, but so I'm going to make this very short. So as an autistic person, just make sure you are having the services that you need. I highly recommend you check it out. Feel free to comment, share, like, subscribe. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful night.